I'd like to, thank you. I'd like to bring Jill Nelson back up here, and she's going to lead us through our Q&A.
Excellent. Well, just one more quick round of applause for the four speakers that I can tell put a lot of time and heart into telling their story. After here, I learned something new about every one of you today, even though some of you I've known for many, many years. And I just feel really, really proud and lucky to be a part of the organization with these guys and the other 100 and so members. Many of you are here today. We did leave time for questions, so Jan over here has a microphone. If you want to raise your hand and if you'd like to address a question specifically to one of the entrepreneurs on the stage, please feel free. Who has a question? And if not, I know some of you has the dying question. All right, okay. Well, I will kick this off with a doozy. And I'm gonna ask Sean this question. Sean, in your, what'd you say, 12 years in business?
17.
17 years in business?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the darkest time at Boots and All Travel, and how did you get through?
I'm an optimist, and for those of you that know me, even at my darkest moments, I know that it's going to be okay, because I know I'm going to die one day, so might as well just be happy. But the darkest moment, I would say would be right before we acquired Airtrix. We built a first of its kind software product for around the world airfare engines. So if you want to buy an airplane ticket with 6 or more stops, at this point we're still the only place on the web that you can do that. We were partners with a bigger company, and we were putting up a good face that we could buy them. And we ended up buying them, but it was, I had very, very little money for a long time, and I remember those being dark days. But I remember knowing that it was going to be okay. My kids loved me, people still love me. Yeah.
That was a trick question. I knew that about Sean. He doesn't have dark days. Over there, hello.
Gerard Lester of Acosta, thank you very much for sharing your experiences. I'm interested in what it looks like when you're kind of mid-scale, when you're starting to really scale your business, and the functionality of your business starts to look more traditional. And I'm interested in your experiences around that and kind of what the tension is there.
Specifically to Janelle?
I'll go first.
I think that's a perfect question for you, huh?
You heard traditional is the antithesis of punk rock, I would say. Gosh, I've definitely had a lot of growing pains, and there were a lot of things that developed organically and I could kind of have my hands on, and I think the thing over all other things that have helped us grow and scale in a graceful way was being really fearless about leading and running our company with our values. And we had a point where we grew, and we had some agents that were there where it were not a good values fit, but then all of a sudden we became dependent on that revenue, and it was a big deal to face, like, okay, this doesn't feel good, this isn't right, but now I've got to make these really hard decisions. And we had to let 6 people go in a day once. It was really super tough, really terrifying. But in the end, we survived those type of things, and it's through being able to lead through our values and being confident about that, and being confident that more people are going to come because that's the kind of company that we are. And it doesn't just work for when you're, in bad times too. It's good things too. It's just like, which direction, where do we go? And we always come back to our core values to lead the way.
Janelle. All right, Sadie, I have one for you. I've been an admirer of your business for a long time. I don't know if many of you know that you've probably seen Bar 3 around Portland, but perhaps you did not know that it is actually a national franchise with right around 100 national franchises in some of the biggest cities. So I just want to ask you, what was the moment where you knew, like, oh my gosh, I think this might work, we're on to something? Did you have that epiphany?
What was the moment when I figured we're onto something?
Yeah, or when you knew, like, it's gonna work?
Yeah.
The moment of traction.
So I related so much to your story, by the way, we gotta talk.
Yeah.
I opened in '08, which was the height of the recession. Everybody told me not to. And I knew I was successful. Teal Davison was there. When Seal was playing the song Amazing in the warm-up, the very first class I taught in my studio, I knew I was onto something because it wasn't just about me in that moment, the itch that I scratched. I'm like, a lot of people are struggling with the exact same issue. We're all so similar. And we all want the same thing. We want connection. We want to feel good in our own bodies. But we also want a point of view and a community of good health around us to support us. And I just knew so crystal clear in that moment that I was onto something, whether it was just teaching in that one studio or growing the company. It was success in that moment.
Jill, we have a question.
This is for Sadie. Sadie, you have so many of these businesses now. How did you decide to start, what were the criteria you used to start the second one, and then the third and the fourth and the fifth, and how is that, what have you learned from that? How has that changed over time?
Yeah, well, the first, that was for me, right? Yeah. Okay. The first thing, my husband we're business partners, and we both knew right away that we wanted to franchise. That was something we became clear about because of our values of empowering someone, very analogous to the class. Like, we have a point of view, we have a thoughtful approach, but then it's really about the individual owning that experience and inserting themselves fully into it. That's where transformation happens, in the body and in a class, but that's very true for business too. And I took that kind of on-the-mat experience in Bar 3 to the business side, and you know what, let's create a model for people out there, entrepreneurs out there, because we have wisdom in the fitness industry, but let's empower them as individuals to insert themselves. It's an owner-operated model, meaning they represent the product, they don't just do it as a business and hire people who do. Let's empower them to make it their own, so it's true to their community and who they are. And the franchise model really supported that value. So right away after opening our first studio, we wrote a business plan before the first studio with that in mind. We did have that thought. And then it was just about finding the right people who are aligned with us. And it grew pretty quickly. We put up the tab, Grow With Us, on our website, and I think within 2 months we had someone signed. And it's just kind of gone from there. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, over here.
Thank you all. Thank you. My question is about EO specifically. I'm an Accelerator member and I love it, and I have my own reasons. What are the reasons that you love being a member? Because many of you have been members for a really long time. So that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I've been a member of EO for 15 years, and during that time I've run 14 companies, and the thing I love about it is that there's no end to the amount of knowledge that you can get. No matter what the question is, no matter what the problem is, no matter what the hurdle that you're trying to clear, there is always somebody that's been through that before, whether that's in your forum group, whether that's in the Portland chapter, or whether that's globally. You know, somebody has got some experience that they can shed on this. And sometimes it's not just the knowledge that you get from that person, but it's just the comfort that you have from knowing that somebody's been through this before and they made it. They have a point of view and some experience on it that may or may not be helpful to you, but at least you're not alone. And for a lot of people, you know, a lot of times when you're running a business, you get up to the top, there's nobody to talk to. You can't talk to your employees because they expect you to have all the answers. You can't talk to your friends because they don't know anything about your business. So who do you talk to? And EO is a global organization of 11,000 people who all have something to say to you and to share with you. And that's why I'm still in after 15 years.
If you'd like a 5-month, like I've only been in it for 5 months, and in addition, ditto, and the quality of education. So I signed up for this talk, just, well, that sounds fun, like didn't look into the backstory. Not that there was going to be 250 high-performing professionals that I'm talking to. And then EO paired me with the most incredible, we were all talking about her, Sam Horn, who took us through the anatomy of doing an 8-minute talk. And I got so much value out of that. And the level of education and the quality of trainers that are a part of EO is like getting your MBA every day. It's super exciting.
I had to say, I truly came to business like punk rock. I had no idea what I was doing. I hadn't done it before. And I started the business, and then I started facing really big challenges, and I didn't know who to reach out to. And coincidentally, I'm a punk rocker who plays golf, rare. But I was out playing golf with a good friend, Michael Knapp, actually, who's here, and I started sharing about some of the problems that I had, and they were like, "You should check out EO. I'm sure your business at this point's got $1 million of gross revenue." And I was like, "Oh, guys, oh, shoot, I don't make $1 million." And they all started laughing. And they're like, "Do you know the difference between gross and net?" No clue. I just gave a presentation 3 weeks ago, and I was like, and then on this line is BS and people. I don't know what this bullshit thing is. They're like, and the guy was like, "It's balance sheet. It's balance sheet." So, this organization has, I thought I got this MBA on the road with punk rock. I think I got the grit to do business with punk rock, but I've earned some skills and some education and some learning, and I totally came in as someone just a little bit floundering, and people have just rushed in to support me, and it has accelerated our growth. And I think my staff is here. You can talk to them. They've gotten so much out of me being in the program and the education that they get. And then most of all, you should talk to my sweetheart Lucas, because he is so relieved he doesn't have to listen to me talk about business all the time now at home. So it's really for the whole family and for myself and for my organization.
John,
I would just retweet what they said. I don't have anything new to add. Seriously, they said it. So just to be cognizant of time.
You asked the loaded question. I think many of us that have been in EO, we get this it just is just such a savior and such a game changer for us all that you ask us that one question and we won't stop talking, and people ask if we're part of a cult or we're multi-level channel marketing something, and we get out of it. But really, we just feel so passionate about what it's done for us that we want to share it with other people. Okay, so part of EO, one of the benefits you get put in a forum, which is kind of like a non-official advisory board that you meet once a month, and you get to talk about everything that's going on with your business. And I did not meet Bill in the early years of my EO adventure. I actually was in forum with his brother, and they were in business together. So I knew the story of Bill before I met Bill. Perhaps you could share a little bit for those of you that are in business with family members, and being a business advisory person, what would you impart on us all here?
Yeah, I think I work with a lot of family-owned businesses, and a lot of people start businesses with all the resources they have, and sometimes all the resources they have is just their family. And so the key thing to remember is that the business exists to serve the family, to serve the need that the family has, as well as the needs that the customer has. So there's always different and shifting needs that have to happen. And if you can keep in mind that this is a values-based organization, that we're in this because we want to make our world better, we want to make other people's worlds better, that's common ground. Everybody can agree on that. So, I think Jill will tell you my brother and I are completely opposite sort of personalities in many ways, but we could always agree on the purposes and the values and the visions that we shared, and we could always solve, a business problem, somewhat unorthodox sometimes, but I don't know very many people who have solved business disputes with a snowmobile race, but I have, and I lost, but that was fair. That's the method we used. So but whatever works for your company works for your company because it's consistent with your values. And when people are open and honest about that, then that gives a platform to discuss that with other people, inside the company or outside the company. Hey, this is who we are, this is what we believe, this is why we're doing this, and so this is why we're going to make a decision that way. And customers respond to it, employees respond to it, and investors, purchasers, respond to it.
Excellent. Thank you, Bill. Any last questions before I bring it on home? Last questions. Okay, I want to thank you all again for coming. I would also like to thank our strategic partners that are actually listed on your program today. We would not be able to engage in all this just amazing learning and opportunity without their support. I want to thank our 4 speakers, not just for being here today, but for really, really putting everything you had to bring it. And you guys I was very, very impressed. For those of you that would like to stick around for the test drive, just stick around. We'll get going in just shy of a half an hour. And the rest of you, I wish you all a wonderful day. And thank you again for coming.